Hey guys, oh my god, I'm so ashamed. If you couldn't tell from the title, I have indeed succumbed to a bunch of newness from BBW. I just wanted to get out for the day and just like take a drive and have some fun with masks on and social distancing and pocket backing though, of course. And I was like, you know what, let me just go check out some BBW, oh my god, and here I am. It's not as massive as some like test store hauls that I've done, but there's plenty of newness here. So I have a number of brand new Christmas candles as well as the new You're the One body care. It was the You're the One body care that had totally got me in because the notes were like strawberry nectar, rose, and woods. I was like, oh my god, I have to go find that this weekend. And there was a 10 off candle thing. I was armed with my 2 survey coupons and I went into the store and they had more than I had anticipated, and here we are. So yeah, I mean, I didn't buy multiples of anything, so that's my excuse, but you know how it is. I'm just gonna stop babbling and just get right into it. So yeah. There's a lot of newness coming for Christmas that's actually new. That's not just like that Christmas at Kate's repackaged stuff. The You're the One stuff just like sort of blew up over the weekend. There's a candle and a wallflower as well, and it's like the new signature collection, so that is coming. Let me talk about the stuff that I didn't smell or wasn't in or that I just didn't pick up. There is indeed a peppermint sugar cookie candle coming in the same packaging as that snowflakes and citrus and champagne toast. So that was out in wallflower, and people were talking about that. That is indeed coming in a 3-wick. There's also, let's see, a White Barn core collection with like square labels on it. That there's a peach on earth candle. Once again, I didn't smell any of those, but just relaying it. There's also a forest frost, which I think was also in the what was it, in the wallflower as well. That's in that same collection. There's a forest frost as well. I didn't smell either of those. And I think I saw blueberry sugar somewhere as well, was also going to be in candle form. So that is coming out. In the Frosted Fable collection, I smelled Christmas cider, but I didn't pick it up. Let me pull up the notes here real quick. And so yeah, Christmas cider, that one was mulled cinnamon, crushed clove, creamy nutmeg, simmering cider with essential oils. Mind you, I was smelling this stuff with a mask on, and you can only like get so much of a read with a mask on without like actually shoving your nose into it. But that one smelled dangerously close to the spiced chestnut. What first came to mind was I was like, this smells like golden cinnamon, which was a ombre glass jar from White Barn a while back, and golden cinnamon was one that I really liked. It sort of smells like cinnamon toast crunch made into like a drink or a cider. And then of course spiced chestnut came out last year and I really enjoyed this. This is actually my second one. And this one was very similar to golden cinnamon. It was the next best thing, but made a little bit darker and it's just a tad more boozy. And yeah, that's what spiced chestnut is, and it smells very similar to that. Once again, it was through a mask and I didn't like burn it, but it was very similar to spiced chestnut, so if you enjoyed that, I think you'll enjoy Christmas cider. It wasn't like appley or anything. You get that cider in there, but you get a ton of that like cinnamon and clove notes in there. It smelled like it smelled very much like golden cinnamon, which is basically like spiced chestnut made a little bit lighter, and that is what I got from that. I was like, I already have spiced chestnut, golden cinnamon, I just like finished and like emptied that one out, so I was like, I really don't need another one, so I didn't get that. And I believe that's it for the stuff that was there that I smelled but didn't pick up. Oh, there's a new Aromatherapy chamomile and bergamot, which is the same as the black chamomile that used to be out all the time in rotation, so that's the same stuff there as well. So let's get into it. And the first one we have is You're the One. This one's the one that did me in, oh my gosh. And it's white birch, velvety rose, and a drop of strawberry nectar. And that's what that looks like right here. It's like a plastic wraparound, but it's raised where like the glitter holographic metallic pattern is. It sort of looks like a mosaic kind of thing. And then it has a red flat lid on it, and the bottom looks like this. This is still $24.50. And so this I would assume is the new holiday signature collection fragrance, which I usually like to get or collect. I hate saying that, but I do. Like Into the Night was the last year. In the Stars before that, you know, it sort of goes on and on. But this one had a rose in it, so I was like, I have to try this out. And I like it, but it's so much more mature than I thought it was going to be. Like the rose and the wood in here is quite mature. I know people take some offense to it, but it does smell quote unquote granny to me, more granny than I had anticipated. I thought the strawberry would make it a little bit more fresh or young, but it's that woods and the rose that there's almost like a slightly like a rose soap quality to it. And the thing is, like, rose itself is not necessarily like mature or old fashioned, because we have stuff like rosewater meringue that smells totally like fresh and, you know, sweetsy and cutesy. Pink petal tea cake doesn't really smell granny either. So it's not necessarily the rose that necessarily makes it, you know, old smelling. It's more so the woods mixed with the rose comes off as a more mature fragrance than I thought it would be. It's quite powdery. And of course, there's roses that can smell powdery, so of course some of it can be attributed to a rose. It's quite powdery. I feel like I smelled something similar to this before, but I can't pinpoint it right now. But in any case, yeah, you get a powdery rose that's a little bit more on the mature side, not as fresh, clean, and crisp as the plain rose that we have, or not even fresh, clean, or crisp as the rosewater and ivy fragrance, or even the rosewater note and rosewater meringue. It's not that crisp or fresh. It's a little bit more mature and powdery, and a little bit more heavy. And then it's mixed in with that strawberry that is kind of juicy and sweet, and that is what sort of makes it a little bit more sweeter and palatable, so to speak. It's still a nice fragrance and I enjoy it. It's just like, these are cold impressions. I haven't burned them or even used the body care, so I'm not totally sure. But yeah, the packaging is, I guess it's decent. It looks a little dated, or it almost looks like an 80s kind of thing, and like the You're the font, it just seems sort of like cheap. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I still enjoy it. I can't wait to burn it. Like, with all that said, like, I love like granny or older women's mature perfumes. So, you know, I still like or appreciate this kind of stuff, and just putting it out there for those people who get turned off by rose. There is a more older fashioned rose powdery woodsy fragrance that comes out in this quite strong, at least in my opinion. So don't think it's as sweet or cutesy as Pink Pepper Tea Cake or Rosewater Meringue. So there's that. Had to get the matching shower gel. These are friggin' $15.50 now, and you know I still bought it. I had my survey coupon, so I was like, I gotta get to 30. Yeah, these are $15.50 now. They're just like really raising the prices on it. And the thing is, it's not, I think it's just a price increase because there's nothing fancy about this. It's just like a frosted, like matte plastic instead of clear, but I don't think that's probably that like expensive to produce versus the clear one. And this is White Birch, Velvety Rose, and a drop of strawberry nectar. It says, you're confident, sparkling, beautiful, you're the one. Haven't used this at all, so I'll have to get back to you guys on this. This smells less woodsy than the candle does, so we'll see. This one, but I also wiped all this stuff down with like cleaner wipes, so that could be sort of affecting it. But yeah, this one's not as robust or heavy as the candle is. So that's the shower gel right there, if it would focus, and there we go. Comparing it to In the Night from last year, which was last year's signature collection fragrance right here. The reason I bring this up is because this also had velvet rose petals in it, shimmering amber, creamy musk, and sugared raspberry. So, I mean, I'm all for them doing rose. Like, you guys know the story. I've gone on years and years and years of begging BBW to put out rose stuff, and now we get rose stuff in dozens, so I'm totally fine with that. Comparing it to this is way darker, more ashy. This is still quite mature in my opinion, but it's more, yeah, there's an ashy darkness to it. Where it's distinctly more like a nighttime fragrance, whereas You're the One might be a little bit more like the daytime fragrance to In the Night. This is a little bit more, there's almost a slightly like smoky, powdery, ashy, dark quality to it. And the raspberry is not quite as sweet or juicy as it is in You're the One, whereas You're the One is strawberry, but just as comparing berry notes, that's what I get the difference there. But a similar like mature rose kind of powdery heaviness exists in Into the Night here as well. So I think if you like Into the Night but wanted something that was a little bit more daytime and bright, then You're the One would be it. So that's the comparison there. And yeah, this, of course I haven't burned this yet, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much the only comparison I can draw to right now. The next collection we have is I have succumbed to the cute packaging. It was either this or Christmas cider, and I was like, I already talked about Christmas cider. So we got frosted spearmint instead, and that is what that looks like. I think it's either ombre or a lightly cluttered glass jar behind the cutout. And then there's cutouts. Are there cutouts? Yeah, there's some cutouts. Like that one is a cutout all the way around. They're really playing up the luminary thing and that textured top right there. This one reads frozen apple, snow-capped mint, creamy sandalwood, and ice malt with essential oils. This one I was going back and forth on because I was like, oh, do I want this? And this really reminds me of, and no one's gonna know it because it's like a 2010 fragrance from Slacken & Co. It reminds me a lot of Snow Apple Mint, which I had a wallflower of, but mind you, the wallflower was sort of old, and if you smell the wallflowers directly or plug them in like after like 10 years, the wallflowers do get a chemical fragrance to it that makes it a little bit more harsh. So I can't completely and accurately go off of that because once again, the only experience I have with Snow Apple Mint is with the wallflower. But it's similar to that in that you get a crisp apple that is a little bit fruity, and then you get a spearmint similar to the spearmint that you get in like Yuko. This spearmint where it's not like it's not as sweet spearmint. It's a little bit more of that harsh, clean spearmint is what I get from it. But it's surprisingly nice. It's not sweet spearmint that was in that mixed materials collection. It is not that. That was much sweeter. It was almost like a sort of like a sugared like spearmint gum kind of fragrance is what I got from it. That was really refreshing and uplifting, and I enjoy that. This one has a distinctly little bit more of a wintry vibe to it. It's a little bit powdery is what I get from it. But similar to like the spearmint that you get in like Blue Winter Sky or, you know, you could spearmint, that kind of spearmint is what I get from it. Mixed with a sweet apple note. I feel like this has the potential to become very pleasant once it's burning. So that's sort of why I wanted to get it. And the packaging is very darling on this, I do have to admit. So that was the Frosted Fable, Frosted Spearmint. There, Pink Fairy Gumdrop is also coming out in that, Evergreen and Sparkling Icicles, and maybe another one that I'm missing. And that was that collection. The next one we have is the, I don't even remember what this collection was called, but it is this collection that has the Salted Caramel Eggnog in it. And the top has snowflakes on it, and the bottom looks like this. And there's like a gold trim on the bottom there. This one reads Gooey Caramel, Fresh Sea Salt, Dulce de Leche, Sweet Whipped Cream with Essential Oils. This one's good. This one's pretty juicy. I'm like pretty excited to burn this. This could be a fall fragrance too to me. It's not, I don't think it's a repackage, surprisingly. It's definitely not butter rum eggnog. Let me get that out of the way first. There's this from, I don't know, a year ago. It was also in that Dear Santa crap. The spice eggnog, vanilla bourbon, and rich buttercream with shaved nutmeg. No, totally different. This is way more of a, like, vanilla, almost like a white chocolate fragrance I got to it, similar to like Vanilla Bean Noel, or just their plain vanilla bean. But it still had eggnog in it, but it wasn't quite as heavy or boozy as like spiked eggnog from Homeworks. It was more of a sweet, vanilla heavy eggnog dairy blend to it. This was nice. I kind of liked it. I sort of got ruined on the fragrance because I got really sick one year when I was burning butter rum eggnog, and then so I associated it with that illness. So that was butter rum eggnog. It is not this. It is not that. This, there's more emphasis on the salted caramel. I get very much that buttery popcorn type of salted caramel fragrance that we get from salty caramel or salted caramel from years past. I don't think it's straight up salted caramel though, because there is a quite like almost like an eggnoggy, dairy, creamy, gooey quality to it that I really enjoy. And what it does is it sort of tones down or mellows out. It makes the, you know how salted caramel can sometimes be very similar to Summer Boardwalk as well, or the sea salt maple popcorn, where it's very heavy and intense and cloying and like can choke you out. The eggnog quality of this sort of balances well with the salted caramel, where it doesn't get too heavily into that like crunchy, like salted caramel popcorn, but more of a creamy vibe to it that you get from the eggnog. So it is sort of like a creamy eggnog drink, like drizzled with salted caramel or whatever on top of it. It's quite juicy and awesome. Yeah, it reminds me of like a salted caramel or Summer Boardwalk type of that fragrance made creamier and milkier. And it's pretty juicy. It's not gooey caramel or caramel drizzle, from at least what I recall. So that was salted caramel eggnog right there. I really hope this is just like really strong and like a powerhouse fragrance when you go to burn it. So there was that. The next one we have is Gingerbread Marshmallow. I think these are only 2 new fragrances in that collection. And that is what that looks like. Same with the lid there. It does wrap all the way around, and the bottom looks like that. And Gingerbread Marshmallow reads gingerbread spice, eggnog, spiced rum, vanilla frosting, brown sugar crystals with essential oils. Yeah. It's not as marshmallowy as you would think. There's still, and the thing is, like, gingerbread spices and gingerbread spice, like fragrance oils and notes tend to be very heavy, that even if there is marshmallow actually in the blend, they will overtake the marshmallow. But I get gingerbread similar to their usual spice gingerbread, but not as cookie bakery as it. You don't get that like cooked bakery warm vibe that you get in spiced gingerbread, but you get more of just like the spices. And it reminds me of the spices that you also get in like cinnamon and clove buds. I get a very red hot cinnamon mixed with ginger note is what I get. And then in the bottom, you do indeed get a marshmallow note, and it reminds me of the marshmallow that you get in vanilla bean marshmallow, which is also vanilla pumpkin marshmallow-ish kind of. Buttercream icing, the spooky vanilla, whatever that repackage was for the Easter that we just got, that was literally the same thing. It's that vanilla bean marshmallow, vanilla pumpkin marshmallow. It reminds me a lot of if they... Remember how like there's vanilla bean marshmallow and vanilla pumpkin marshmallow just has maybe just a smidge amount of spice that's like hardly noticeable, that's like barely pumpkin or different enough from the vanilla bean marshmallow. It's like they took vanilla bean marshmallow and vanilla pumpkin marshmallow but actually amped up the spice in it and made it an actual like spicy vanilla pumpkin marshmallow, or in this case like vanilla gingerbread marshmallow is kind of how this comes off. So you get the marshmallow in there. Yeah, it's like if they took vanilla pumpkin marshmallow and actually amped up the spice in there and you could smell it, but you still get all the other components in there as well. And that is what I get from gingerbread marshmallow. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a sweeter, creamy gingerbread. Not as creamy or sweet as I had thought it would be, at least on cold, but once again, we'll have to burn this and see how that translates. So that is gingerbread marshmallow right there. Lastly, oh my god, and I paid full price for this, but it was just so good. And I didn't want to do, there's a 2 for $20 for, spoiler alert, the Single-Wick 7-ounce candles, but I'm like, I still don't want to spend $6.50 on another throwaway candle that I really don't want. So I'll just, as hard it is for a shopper with coupons and deals, I was just like, no, I'm just going to stick to just the single one and be done with it and be over with it. And just, I would still have to spend an extra $6.50 to get a second one. So $14.50 on this. I was like, I don't plan on going into BBW on I hope not on a regular basis, and I don't want to keep making those trips and risking, you know, all the health issues. So I'm just gonna buy what I see and what I want right now on this one trip and just be done with it. And that was my logic. And it is the new Aromatherapy Rose Lavender fragrance. And you know, when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I have to try this out. And I didn't realize it was going to be out in a candle. And so, believe it, like surprisingly, or believe it or not, these 7 ounces actually burn quite well. Like there are some 7 ounces that'll burn. Like you can shove an illuminator on this if it has issue pulling out. It will burn great. Like the thing is, it's a single wick, and we're used to 3 wicks that are like overwicked, and they take like, you know, 1 hour to pull out, and they burn very fast. But like a single wick candle is designed to take like how many ever inches in diameter this is. Like let's say this is 2 or 3 inches. It should take 2 to 3 hours for it to pull out, because it is a single wick candle. So they're designed to, like a single wick candle is designed to pull out that slowly. So if you give it the time to pull out and burn, it has a surprisingly clean and good burn. And in a smaller bedroom, you can actually smell it, and it's like, it usually stays pure because there isn't 3 wicks that make it so hot that squirts the fragrance in the wax. It stays pure and nice the whole time. So I actually have grown to have an appreciation for these single wicks, because if you give it the time to pull out and put it in a small bedroom, it actually works out okay. But this is the Rose Lavender. There are no notes on this, but oh my god, this is gorgeous. When I smelled it in store, I was like, oh my god, is it just going to be Lavender Rose? I almost sort of hope it is, so then I don't have to pick it up. And we have Lavender Rose here, which was in the failed test collection from the Rose collection, and then made its debut, I guess, was it just this spring? This one reads French Lavender, Moonshadow, Rose Petals, and Cashmere Musk. No. This, in my opinion, is way sharper on the lavender. There is that very sharp, distinctly French lavender fragrance that they have mixed with a rose is what I get from this. But I got a lavender, that crisp, sharp lavender from French Lavender mixed with rose petals is what I got in this. surprisingly different blend. And this is also the Aromatherapy, so I guess usually the Aromatherapy ones get new blends. This one on the receipt said it was Sleep, just in case you were wondering. Oh, and did you guys know Love Rose Vanilla is, I guess that got canceled or canned or discontinued during the summer SAS, at least in stores, because I believe the candle is still available to purchase online, but in stores Love Rose Vanilla, which is like my number one, is done. But thankfully I have plenty of those candles and plenty of those shower gels, so I'm good to go there. Anywho, yeah, this is surprisingly nice. It's quite, I hate saying these kind of words, but quite more high-end or slightly more luxury than your run-of-the-mill stuff. It does smell like something I would pick up from maybe a higher-end brand. Yeah, it's quite nice. The rose is the rose and the lavender is just a different balance. It's a little bit more woodsy, but I almost don't mind that. Almost like, you know how there's some more dry lavenders, like a lavender cedar or lavender cedar leaf type of fragrance, where there's that sort of slightly dry woodsy note that's accompanied with the lavender fragrance. That is what I get from it, mixed with a ever so sweet but subtle rose fragrance. And it's like this woodsy but still slightly feminine rose lavender fragrance. It's different. It's not quite what you would expect. It's a little bit more woodsy and dry than what I had imagined, but at least on cold, it's quite nice. I'm not sure how the body care will translate in this. They didn't have it at the moment. I feel like it has the potential to be maybe a little bit too woodsy and not soft and feminine enough for me when I actually go to use it or burn it. But on cold, it's surprisingly nice. Like the lid, I get more of that rose in there, and oof, I really enjoy that. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I really enjoyed it through my mask, and now that I'm smelling it closely, it's maybe a little bit more woodsy than I had anticipated, but if the rose comes out in this more when it's burning, I think I would really enjoy it, but still a nice fragrance nonetheless, and I'm just happy it's not a lavender rose repackage. So that was that there, and once again, chamomile bergamot, and then the facelifted eucalyptus spearmint stress relief is also in this collection as well. And whew, I believe that is it for the Christmas 1 floor set, so I will burn these and try to review these to make it worth my while, and worth your while as well. And we'll go like that. I think the peppermint sugar cookie is the only, like, that one, Forest Frost, or Frosted Forest, or whatever it is, and Peach on Earth are the 3 other new ones we're waiting for. There's that snowy peach berry thing that's apparently cranberry peach, or possibly not, but I really just don't care for these fragrances, that I was just like, I don't need to smell it. So that was that. And I believe that is it. Oh my god, so ashamed. I'm just like, I hope I'm not going into my old ways, but I don't know, we'll see. So it is what it is. It's already happened, so I hope you enjoy this entertainment as it exists, and we'll review these and go from there. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.